Hey guys, what's happening? Niyat here with Film Comics Explained. Welcome back to our run on 28 Days Later, London Calling. A group of journalists led by Selena attempt to make their way into the heart of London to uncover the truth about the infection. They are woefully underprepared and assume it will be like every other war zone they've documented in the past, but soon come to realize that this is pure chaos as we see them constantly getting chased and attacked by the infected. Selena has saved them a number of times and is trying to psychologically and physically prepare them for what they're about to encounter, but not all of them are heeding a warning. When we left, Hirsch had gone off looking for a pair of shoes, but ended up getting infected. They literally had a few seconds before the infection spread and he began to attack them, which is why Selena cut him down with a machete. We return to find Trina yelling at Selena while being restrained by Derek. She says that she will kill her. Selena simply walks over and slaps her across the face. Understandably, they are all in shock and disbelief. Derek approaches Selena with the intent to attack, but before he can get close, Selena instinctively raises the machete to his throat. She tells him that if someone is infected, it will spread quickly, stating that if she hadn't have killed him, he would have killed them all. She goes on to say that this isn't a war and that normal rules don't apply here. They essentially have to be willing to kill anyone to survive. She tells them that if they don't accept that now, they are all as good as dead, before insisting that they get ready as more are coming. Derek has quickly accepted this fact. Selena hands him the Molotov and tells him that they need more of them. She then asks Randall and Trina to get the tables up against the door. They essentially have 6 hours until dawn and need to make the room as secure as possible. Harris tells her that he's going to check on Hirsch and Selena lunges at him. She grabs him by the collar and insists that he stays away from his body. Trina is on her knees, crying over Hirsch's body. Selena gently helps her up and asks her to stay away from his infected blood. Trina questions why she even cares, and Selena tells her to get it together. Harris then asks why she wanted each of them to have bar rags, and she explains it's to cover their mouth and prevent infected fluid from getting into the system. Selena then looks out through the window and surveys their surroundings for infected, while the rest of the group prepare themselves for the night. As Harris places a table sheet over the body of Hirsch, Derek asks him what they're going to do now, and Harris responds by telling him that they have to wait for the boat. Derek then looks over at Selena and says, "I meant about her." Harris is confused and says that he thought that he was starting to like her. Derek tells him that he was until she killed Hirsch, but as angry as he was about that, he agrees that she was in the right. He tells Harris that they're still going to have a problem though, as he mentions that Hirsch and Trina had a special relationship, and she may have taken it personally. Harris disagrees, saying that Trina's a pro, but Derek simply says that while the group was scanning sightlines and listening for any signs of the infected, Trina wasn't. She was watching Selena. Clued into this, Harris then approaches her and asks if she's okay. He goes on to say that Hirsch was his friend too, and as upset as he was, Selena did the right thing. He reminds her of the video they'd all seen of the infection before they left, and tells her that he needs her with them, but she simply cries and says that Hirsch just wanted to help people, and that it wasn't fair for him to die. Harris then approaches Selena and asks if she can see anything. She tells him that the infected are coming, and not to worry about that, before asking whether the same thing can be said about the boat. Harris explains that the boat will be there, and cautions her to watch her back. He explains that Trina is taking it pretty hard, as Hirsch was a good kid who deserved better. She simply responds by saying that if he deserved better, he should have stayed home. He asks if she also had to kill somebody she cared about, and she says that she's still alive, so what does he think? At that moment, she sees the infected coming and asks them to get their bar rags over their mouths. Heading to the door, which has been barricaded with tables, chairs and other bar equipment, we hear a sudden boom, followed by menacing scratches. Trina is freaking out and asks why they don't just stop. We hear another boom as the wood begins to crack under the pressure. A few hands begin to pop through the gaps as the barricade pushes back, overwhelmed by the force. Harris and Selena run at the door to hold it in place. Selena urges him not to let them scratch him. He's pretty surprised to hear that a scratch is enough to infect him, but Selena confirms anything that breaks the skin will do it. At that moment, an infected begins to come through the window. Selena tells Derek to help her with the door as she moves towards him and cuts him down as 2 more come through the window. Derek helps her by calling out their location as she gets back up. We see Selena and Derek working together as he asks her about the Molotov cocktails. She explains that they need them for cover when the boat arrives, but Derek insists that he didn't think they would make it that long. Selena then turns back and tells Trina to help them, but Trina simply gets up and starts walking towards her, while muttering, "This is for Hirsch," under her breath. As she nears Selena, she bites into her hand. Selena tells her to get off as she kills the infected at the window. Harris asks if everyone is okay. Selena and Trina both say no. Trina then yells that Selena was bitten and that she saw it, before calling out for them to kill her. Derek apologizes before attacking her. Selena cuts through his stick with ease and punches him in the nose before explaining that Trina bit her. Trina denies this and insists that she saw one of them bite her, but Selena is adamant that she wasn't infected and that if she was, they would know by now. She goes on to say it didn't even break the skin and that was the reason she wore leather. Fuming with rage, she walks up to Trina, machete in hand. Harris tries to hold her back, but she pushes him with ease and gets right up into Trina's face. At that very moment, Derek yells that more are coming and that the boat is here. Selena stops her attack on Trina and tells him to grab the cocktails and hurry. We then see him packing his bags before they make a break for it. They get to the dock and are being chased by dozens of infected. Selena tells Derek that this was the perfect time as he lights a Molotov and throws it behind them. A blaze begins to break out among the infected, but this does little to deter them, with the horde now running at them while on fire. As the group reach the boat, a crewmate asks what's going on, and Harris yells at him not to tie off. He informs him that they're jumping on board now. He sees the horde behind them and yells out before helping them get on board, in one of the most beautiful images in the series. Trina is at the back of the group. One of the infected reaches out and grabs her, but before he can pull her back, Selena turns around and cuts his hand off, allowing Trina to flee and jump on board. Selena then leaps onto the boat and holds on as it moves away from the docks. As they drift off, the infected, who are still on fire, just stare at them from the pier with hate. Selena turns around and tells Trina that it was her shirt that took most of the damage. Trina's about to apologize, but simply resigns herself to saying that she is fine. The captain then comes out and shakes hands with Harris. They appear to know each other from way back. Harris tells him that he has no idea how happy they are to see him. The captain explains that as far as anyone could tell, they were just another Navy boat on patrol, but suggests that they make their distance from the island before someone takes a closer look at them. While inside the ship, Harris asks if they have all the supplies they need. Derek tells him that they have food, vitamins, video equipment, and, most importantly, enough firepower to make Charlton Heston's corpse get up and dance. He hands one of the pistols over to Selena and tells her that good old American craftsmanship will work better than the machete. She tells him that she's British and wasn't born with the innate ability to fire a shooter. She then thankfully takes the Desert Eagle and slips it into her waist, but says that she'll also hold onto the machete just in case, as it will never run out of bullets. Their plan now is to record footage of the infected zone and dump it on satellite servers. As Derek prepares the equipment, Selena tells him that they brought everything but the kitchen sink. Harris says that they're stocked up for every potentiality, and Selena simply asks how the hell he was going to carry all of this stuff, as he gets a message from the captain asking him to come up. The captain explains that he has good news and bad news. The good news is that they've passed a quarantine line, and the bad news was staring them right in the face as the Navy fleet approaches. And that is the end of Volume 3 to 28 Days Later. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate your support here on Patreon, and I'm looking forward to the next part of the series. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.